All right, Rabbi, say good morning. We have a beautiful daf ahead of us today. Today's daf is Nun Tes 59. And we are picking up on Nun Tes Amud Aleph. We are picking up 3 lines down from the top, 59a. We thank our sponsors this morning. We thank our Talmud Torah sponsors for the month of Iyar. We thank Menachem and Susie Schoenfeld for dedicating all of the shiurim and drashos this month in memory of their grandparents. Moshe ben Shimon Lev Halevi, Saralea Bas Dovber, Menachem Mendel ben Dovber, Sarayita Bas Yaakov Sender, Noah ben Avram, Fega Bas Meir, David Shimon ben Yisrael, and Sarah Bas Yaakov. We thank our Week of Learning sponsors, Greg and Rachel Levitan, with dedicating the learning this week with a plea to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to reopen our shuls in the zuchus that when we return to shul, we daven with greater kavana and appreciation and refrain from conversation in shul. Yeshua to the Levitans for that sponsorship and for that beautiful aspiration. We thank our daf sponsor, Uncle Mike Holtzman, for dedicating a daf during part of the daf during Sira sponsorship. We wish Uncle Mike continued refuah. Thank him for his sponsorship. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, all of the neshamas will have an aliyah, the families in nechama, and that indeed we will be Zochem Yirtzeh Hashem to go back to Shul B'Karov. Appreciate the great gift, daven with greater kavana, talk a lot less, and daven a lot more. All right, so say with that, let us begin. So we have a beautiful daf ahead of us today. We're picking up third line there from the top, 59a. So as I remember again, just to reorient ourselves a bit. So we were discussing the idea about the bell, right? So remember again, we saw multiple opinions when it comes to the zug, to the bell, about both legabe Shabbos as well as legabe Tumah. So we kind of ended off in the midst of a discussion regarding Tumah and indicated that halacha l'maaseh, even a bell without the clapper is still subject to the halachos of Tumah, to which we raised the question, but a bell without a clapper, that effectively is an unusable kli, right? It's a utensil that cannot be used for its primary purpose, and we generally assume that when you have a utensil and it cannot be used for its primary purpose, that halacha l'maisa, the utensil is not mekabel tuma. So we gave different opinions. So we ended off yesterday with the opinion of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina about hoil v'roi lakish al gabi cheres. Since you can still use the bell and go ahead and bang it against an earthenware utensil and make noise, so the bell is still usable, right? The goal of a bell is to make noise. It can still be used to make noise. Now we go weiter. 3 lines down from the top, Nun Tes Amud Aleph. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Hoil v'roi ligamea b'mayim letinok. So interesting, Rabbi Yochanan says, the bell is still usable. How is it usable? It can be used ultimately to go ahead and draw water for a baby. Right, so that's the idea. Meaning, you could essentially use the. Baby over here is the irrelevant part, but the idea would be is for a person, the amount of water you're bringing in a bell is going to be very insignificant, right? But for a baby, it can be significant. The Rabbi Yochanan says the bell still does have a use. What's its use? It can be used to draw in water. The Gemara said, 1 second. For Rabbi Yochanan, lo boi me'im malacha rishona. Now, I'm saying this is very interesting. So we know that legabe hilchos tuma, so a kli is mekabel tuma and retains its tuma if halacha l'maaseh it's usable, as long as it's usable for its for a function. Now, but we assume the Gemara says that it's not just usable for any function, but a kli really only retains its identity as a kli if it's usable for its primary function. The primary function of a bell is for noise, not to go ahead and draw water for a baby. So the Gemara says, does Rabbi Yochanan, lo ba'i me'im malacha rishona, does Rabbi Yochanan not require a utensil to be usable for its initial primary use? V'hatanya, we learned in the Raisa, kol kli asher yeshiv alav. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, remember this is talking about the tumah of a zov. So it says, kol mishkav asher yishkav alav azav yitma, v'chol hakli asher yeshiv alav yitma. That if the zav sits on a utensil, he conveys tumah to that utensil. So what we're going to see is called tumas medris. So the Gemara says, yachol kafas sa'ah v'yashiv aleha. I might have thought, well, so what happens if you take a barrel? Now, the sa'ah is a barrel that holds a sa'ah. Now remember, the job of the barrel is to contain the contents, right? Not to be used for sitting. So let's say the zav sits down on a barrel that holds a saw, so v'yashiv aleha, or kafa tarkov v'yashiv aleha, or he took a tarkov, right? The tarkov is another barrel that holds a certain amount. He turned the barrel over, right? He turned the barrel over and he sat on it. So the Gemara says, Yehi Tame. So you might have thought that halacha lemaisa, since the zav is sitting on the barrel, he should convey tumah to the barrel. Talmud lomar, asher yeshev alav hazav. Therefore, the pasuk says that which the zav will sit on, which teaches us what Rabbi say. Mi shemiyuchad liyeshiva yotza zesh omrim lo amod v'naaseh malachtenu. So the Gemara says, the pasuk says, asher yeshev alav hazav. When does the zav convey tumah to an item? When he sits on it. But I will say, what does sitting mean? Sitting mean that he sits on an item that is miyuchad, that is used for sitting. That comes to exclude the cases of the barrels, which are not normally used for sitting. What's going to happen if the zav goes ahead and sits on the barrels? It's only a matter of time until what? Until someone comes along and says, hey buddy, get off the barrel, we need to go to work, right? We need the contents of the barrel. So we'll say, so what do you see from here? You see from here that halacha lemaisa, in the laws of hilchos tumah and tumah, as they tumah and tara, as they apply to a kli, require a kli to be usable for its primary purpose. So the Gemara says, Rebbe Lazar Omer. Now we're not finished yet. So Rebbe Lazar says, b'midrashos omrim amod v'nasam lachtenu ve'ein omrim mitame meis amod v'nasam lachtenu. So Rebbe Lazar says that first of all, this halacha that we say to him, quote unquote, get up and let us do our work, which means that the item that you're sitting on is not really made to be sat on, and therefore halacha l'maisa zov, when you sit on it, you do not convey tumas medris. So Rebbe Lazar says that's dafkan tumas medris, which is again the type of tumah that a zav conveys to an item if he sits on it or if he leans on it. But for example, with tumas mace can be conveyed even by putting the mace on top of something that would not normally be used to support the mace. Rabbi Yochanan Amar af Rabbi Yochanan Amar af omer betame mace amod v'naaseh malachtenu. Rabbi Yochanan on the other hand holds that what halacha l'maisa, even by tumas mace, we would quote unquote tell the mace, get up and let us do our work, which is another way of saying that halacha l'maisa, if this is not a utensil that is normally utilized for sitting purposes, you cannot convey tumah to the utensil through sitting or through laying on it, even through a corpse. So we'll say, now we have a problem. Why? Because Rabbi Yochanan said, remember again, what were we trying to accomplish? We were trying to understand halacha l'maisa, how it is that a bell without the clapper, without the inbal, is mekabel tumah. After all, again, it's not usable. It's not usable. To which Rabbi Yochanan said, it is usable. What is it usable for? You could use it to go ahead and draw water for a baby. So the Gemara says, draw water for a baby. Doesn't Rabbi Yochanan hold that halacha l'maisa, in order for a utensil to be mekabel or retain its original tumah, it must be used me'ein melechas rishona, or me'ein melachta rishona. It's not enough just to find a use for it, but what? It has to be used in a way which reflects its primary use. So a bell is used to make noise. It's not used to draw water. So the fact that you could draw water with it, that's fine. But because that's not its initial primary use, who's to say that means that the bell is a functional kli? To which the Gemara says, does Rabbi Yochanan... So, and after all, why do we know this? Because again, Rabbi Yochanan comes along and will say elsewhere and says as follows, that in order for a zav to convey tumas medris, which is the tumah that is conveyed through sitting or through supporting your weight against an item, the item that the zav sits on has to be what? Something that is normally used for sitting. But if it's not used for sitting, then the zav cannot convey tumas medris. So what do you see from here? You see from that Rabbi Yochanan does subscribe to this idea. Then when looking at utensils, legabe the halachos of tumah, we look at the primary use of the utensil. Again, let's circle back. So how could Rabbi Yochanan say that it's enough to use the bell to draw the water for a baby, and therefore it's mekabel tumah, when that is not reflective of the primary use of the bell? To which the Gemara says, you're right. Eifuch kamaisa. Change around the sheetas in the beginning. But if you look at Rashi, so this Rashi is Divrei Maschil Eifuch kamaisa. It's 2, 4, 6, 8 lines up from the bottom of Rashi. So Eifuch kamaisa. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Yochanan. So to which the Gemara says, you're right. Change around the sheetas of Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, and Rabbi Yochanan. So it turns out Rabbi Yochanan was the one who said that a bell without the clapper is still makabel tuma. Why? Because you could use it by banging it against an earthenware utensil to make noise. So remember again, that's me'in malachta rishona. That resembles the initial use of the bell. After all, again, remember, a bell was used to make noise when the inbal is in it. It's now used to make noise by banging against the klicharas. And Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina was the one who said that it's usable to draw water. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. Umay chazis the ifchas kamaisa efuch bas raisa. They both say, now I know that something has to be switched in order to reconcile the opinions of Rabbi Yochanan. But how do you know to switch the first case? Maybe you should switch the shitas in the second case and say that Rabbi Yochanan is the one who holds that what? That although the Zav can't convey Tumas Medras onto a kli that's not normally used for sitting, but he can do it by Tumah, but a mace can do it. Maybe that's Rabbi Yochanan. And others will say, how do you know to switch around the first shita? Maybe you should switch the second shita. To which I'll tell you why. Hashem inan le Rabbi Yochanan deboi me'ein malacha rishona. Because I will say, elsewhere we see that Rabbi Yochanan holds that a kli must be able to be used for its initial primary purpose. Where else do we see this? So it's actually very interesting. This hanya, sandal shal behima shal matechas tame. If you have a sandal, if you have a shoe, an animal's shoe that is made of metal, ultimately again, such a utensil can become tame. Now Rashi points out to there sandal shal behima shalo lizok beparsosea ba'avanim. So we'll say, so just to be clear, this wasn't like a horse shoe, just like a ring of metal. This was a shoe. This was a shoe that you would put on the foot of the animal in order to what? In order to prevent the animal's foot from being harmed by stones. So I have an animal shoe. So the Gemara says, the animal shoe is makabel tumah. The Gemara says, makabel tumah, l'may chazi. What is it usable for? To which the Gemara says, Amarav, ro'i lishtos bo mayim b'milchama. This is interesting. It could be used ultimately again as a cup to drink water in a time of war. Now, why does the Gemara bring up a time of war? Because in a time of war, people are much less picky about the utensils that they are using, and therefore, whereas one would not normally drink water out of an animal shoe in regular times, in times of war, a person absolutely would. Rabbi Chanina, so that's the position of Rav. Rabbi Chanina Amar, Ra'i lasuch bo shema b'milchama. Rabbi Chanina says you could use it to pour oil on yourself during war. Same idea. Under normal circumstances, I would not use an animal shoe for oil. For the simple reason, the animal shoe is disgusting, right? But during wartime, I would use the animal shoe for oil. Rabbi Yochanan Amar b'shah sheboreach min hakarav min hakrav manicho biraglo v'ratz al kotzim v'al barnikim. Rabbi Yochanan, on the other hand, says no. That again, if battle gets intense, I need to run, or I need to run away from the battle, I could put on the animal shoe and run faster, because this I wouldn't have to worry about the thorns and the thickets going into my shoe. So we'll say, what do you see from here? You see that according to Rabbi Yochanan, in order for the animal shoe to be makabel tumah, what does he say? It has to be used me'ein melechas rishona. It has to be used in a normal primary way. See, he says, why does the animal shoe retain tumah? Because I can wear it. See, both say, first opinion says, because what? Because you could drink from it. Second opinion says, because you could pour oil from it. And Rabbi Yochanan says, no. Those aren't good enough because those don't reflect their primary use of the utensil. And a utensil could only contract or retain ritual impurity tumah if the utensil can be used for its initial primary purpose. A shoe is worn by the animal. So therefore Rabbi Yochanan says it could retain tumah if at the end of the day I can still wear it as well. So therefore I will say, so let's finish this up. My Bein Rav, Rabbi Chanina. So we'll say, what's the nafkamina between Rav and Rabbi Chanina? We'll say, Rav said that the animal shoe is Mekabel Tumah as long as you could drink water from it. Rabbi Chanina said as long as you could pour oil from it. Okay, so what's the nafkamina between those two opinions? The Gemara says, Ika benayu tima'is. Let's say the animal shoe ultimately again is excessively disgusting. So according to Rav, one would not drink from such a shoe, and therefore Allah would not be makabel tumah. According to the second opinion, according to Rabbi Chanina, one might still pour oil from it, even if the shoe is disgusting. Bein Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Chanina. So we'll say, what's the nafka between Rabbi Yochanan who says that the shoe must be used for running, and Rabbi Chanina says it's used for pouring oil? If it's very heavy, if the shoe is very heavy. If the shoe is very heavy, then you can't use it for running. So Rabbi Yochanan's case would not work, but Allah Chalamayse can still be used for oil. So we'll say, so bottom line is that according to Rabbi Yochanan, and this is really a very interesting shita, that according to Rabbi Yochanan, in general, in order for a utensil to be able to go ahead and contract or retain its tumah, halacha, and now again the utensil undergoes a change. As long as that utensil, according to Rabbi Yochanan, could be used in its initial primary way, then halacha it retains its tumah or its ability to be makabel tumah. But the moment that a utensil can no longer be used in an initial way in which it was primarily designed for, then Rabbi Yochanan will hold that halacha l'maisa it cannot be mekabel tuma. So again, let's just plug this in and we'll move on. So for example, by the bell, Rabbi Yochanan would be the one who holds that if the bell is missing the inbal, right? If the bell is missing the clapper, as long as the bell could be banged against the piece of cheres and make noise, it's makabel tuma, because it still has its function ultimately as a kli which produces noise. But if it could not be used to make noise, even if you could use it to draw water or whatever else, doesn't make a difference. If it can't be used to make noise in some way, it is no longer mekabel tuma. Similarly, the animal shoe, Rabbi Yochanan will hold that it's mekabel tuma only when, if I would be able to use it to run under extenuating circumstances. But if halacha l'maaseh I can't use it to run at all, then the function of the shoe is no longer intact, and therefore it is not mekabel tuma. Beautiful. V'lo be'ir shel zav. And I will say again, and it can't be used. You also can't go out with an ear shel zahav. So let's remember again, ear shel zahav, meaning what? Meaning halacha l'maaseh. We'll see. So the Gemara says, "My be ear shel zav." What is this ear shel zav? What is this ear shel zav? Rav Arachana Am Rabbi Yochanan Yerushalayim Didava. It's a Yerushalayim of gold. Good. It's Yerushalayim made of gold. Made of gold. So the Gemara says, what does this mean? Amud Beis Kida'avid le Rabbi Akiva lidvisu. Like Rabbi Akiva made for his wife. Now, I will say, just give me one second. I want to grab the Gemara. So I will say, I want to share with you something absolutely amazing. If you notice over here, Rashi quotes the Gemara from Maseches Nedarim Daf Nun. This is perhaps one of the most moving Gemaras, one of the most incredible Gemaras. So listen to this. So the Gemara says, quotes over here, Nedarim Nun Amud Aleph, I'm sorry. All right, I can't find it now, but I'll have to. All right, I'll find it for you afterwards. I will say, but this Gemara. I'm sorry, I meant to mark it off before. Okay, I'm not going to take time doing it now, but I'll tell you it outside. I don't know why I can't find it. Okay, I'm sorry. Here it is. Suppose listen to this. This is the Gemara with Rabbi Akiva, where he goes ahead and listen to the Gemara, and you'll appreciate just how beautiful this is. Very quickly, it's Nidara Nun Amud Aleph. Rabbi Akiva is kachise barti de bal kalba savua. Rabbi Akiva got engaged to the daughter of Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua was one of the rich men of Yerushalayim. So Kalba Savua wasn't his real name, because Kalba Savua literally means the satiated dog. Not amongst like the most popular baby names, So why was it called Kalba Savua? Because he was such an incredible Baal Tzedakah that if you came into his home starving like a dog, he would make sure that you were well fed. No one ever left his home not sated. Shama Kalba Savua Adrana Mikol Nechase. So what happened? Akiva was an ignorant shepherd. His daughter, a young woman by the name of Rachel, was probably offered the best shidduchim from the greatest Talmidei Chachamim, and here she goes in and she marries this simple shepherd. Azla ve'insta. So what happened? They get married. So what happens? Azla ve'insta balei besisva havugana beitivna. So remember again, at this point in time, Kalba Savua was so angry at his daughter for eloping with this ignorant shepherd Akiva that he made a neder that she cannot get any money from him. So he was fabulously wealthy, but he was so angry at his daughter for everything that she did that essentially he made a neder, she cannot get any benefit from any of my money. So Rabbi Akiva lived with his wife in a barn. They lived in a barn, and they slept on a mattress, Ganu Beitivna. They slept on straw. So you have to imagine this scene. This is young Akiva and his wife Rachel, Chassan and Kala. They have nothing. Father-in-law Shver is so angry that he makes a neder. You can't get any benefit from any of my money. They're living in abject poverty. Listen to this beautiful Gemara. Havekamankit la tivna min mazyeh. It's so moving. Every morning they would wake up, and young Akiva would pull the straw out of his wife's hair. They slept in straw. So first thing in the morning, he would pull the straw out of her hair. Amar la, ihavi li ramina lech Yerushalayim dedava. He said, one day if I have money, I promise I will buy you a Yerushalayim shel zahav. I will buy you a golden Jerusalem. Right? So this we're going to see, it was this thing, this accessory that women would wear on their head, which was a golden like cutout of Yerushalayim. So Rabbi Akiva promised when he was a chassan and kala, such poverty, he's picking the straw out of her hair, that if I have the ability one day, I promise I will buy you a Yerushalayim shel zahav. So Rabbi said, this is the story of Rabbi Akiva. You could look at this, Ayin Sham, Si Gemara, Nedarim, Nun Amud Aleph. So let's go back for just a moment. So I'll tell you something amazing. So the Gemara itself never discusses what Rabbi Akiva did or didn't do. But here, amazingly enough, the Gemara Masechah Shabbos seems to indicate to us that what? That Rabbi Akiva made good on that promise and bought his wife a Yerushalayim shel zahav. He bought her this golden Jerusalem, which again, you'll see is like some type of tiara or some type of headband worn on the forehead that was a golden cutout or a golden image of Yerushalayim. It's quite beautiful. So Tan Rabbanan, lo seitze isha be'ir shel zahav. So we'll say a woman should not go out on Shabbos with an ir shel zahav. V'im yotzesa, and if she did, chayevas chatas to Rabbi Meir. Meir holds that halacha l'maisa, she's chayev chatas. She's chayev chatas. So we'll say Rabbi Meir holds that a Yerushalayim shel zahav is not an accessory. So because it's not an accessory, therefore it's a masui, therefore it's a burden. And because it's a burden, therefore what? Therefore halacha l'maisa, a woman is chayebes for wearing it out on Shabbos. The Chachamim say no. Chacham omrim lo seitze. Chacham on the other hand say she shouldn't wear it out. Vim yatzasa petura. But if she wore it out, she's patur. Now both say, now understand, why do the Chacham say she shouldn't wear it out? They're concerned for something else. See, the Chachamim say, yes, of course it is an accessory. But what they're concerned about is it's the type of accessory where, again, imagine Rachel's wearing her Yerushalayim shel zahav. Leah comes over, says, wow, what a beautiful Yerushalayim shel zahav. What are we concerned about? That Rachel's going to take it off in order to show it to Leah. That's the concern. That's the concern. So remember, we saw this in the Mishnah already, that halacha l'maisa, you could have something that is deemed an accessory, and therefore what? One should be totally permitted to go ahead and wear it out on Shabbos. But where there is a concern that halacha lamaisa, a woman will come to take it off to show it to her friend, Chazal stepped in and said, you know what? Don't wear it out. So here Rabbi Meir says it's not an accessory at all. Therefore, if you wear it, you're chay v'chatos. Chacham say it is an accessory, but still, midrabanan, you should not wear it, lest you come to take it off on Shabbos and carry it daled amos. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Yotze Isha be'ir shal zav lechatchila. So this is very interesting. Rabbi Eliezer says a woman could wear the ir shal zav and she could wear lechatchila. No problem with wearing an ir shal zav. So we'll say, amazing, three-way machlokes regarding the ir shal zav, right? The Golden Yerushalayim headband. Rabbi Meir says, aser. And if you wear it, you violate an Isser Doraisa. It's Asr Doraisa. Chachamim, you can't wear it, but if you did wear it, there's only an Isser Dirabanon. Rabbi Eliezer, absolutely mutter. So the Gemara says, B'mai pligi, b'mai kemifligi. What's at the root of this machlokas? What's the point of contention over here? Rabbi Meir Savar Masuihu. So we'll say, as you saw before, Rabbi Meir holds that in general, Yushayim Shal Zav is not an accessory. It's not an accessory, so because it's not an accessory, therefore it's a burden, and therefore halacha l'maaseh, if a woman wears it out on Shabbos, she's going to be chayiv echatos. Rabbanan savri tachshitu. The Rabbanan say no. Yerushalayim shel zav, it absolutely is an ornament. It absolutely is an accessory. However, what are we concerned about? Dilma shalfo umachvile ve'asye la'asuye. Maybe ultimately what will happen, maybe she'll come to take it off, and show it to her friend. So we'll say, so remember again, the Chachamim hold that Beshita is an accessory, therefore again you can wear it out on Shabbos Midoraisa. But remember again, this is part of the whole rubric of rabbinic law that says even things that technically speaking are a garment or are an accessory and can be worn out, if it's the kind of things that people would take off to share to their friend, you cannot go ahead and wear that out on Shabbos. Rabbi Elazar says, it's totally mutter. See, he holds that what? He holds man darka lemefak be'ir shal zav. Who's the kind of person who goes out with an ir shal zav? What kind of person goes out with ir shal zav? Isha chashuva, an important woman. The isha chashuva lo mishlafa umachia. So we'll say, listen to this. An ir shal zav is is a very important accessory. In other words, we'll say most people didn't have an ir shal zav. That was a special accessory that reserved really for the upper echelon of society. So therefore, again, Rabbi Eliezer holds that halacha lemaisa. So what we call it, so an isha chashuva is not the kind of person who goes ahead and takes stuff off in order to show it to her friend. That's not the kind of behavior that a isha chashuva engages in. So we'll say this is really quite amazing. So therefore, Rabbi Elazar holds that halacha lemaisa, not only is the ir shal zav a tachshit, not only is it an accessory, an adornment, a piece really can worn out, but it's an adornment that's worn by the upper echelons of society. And in the upper echelons of society, they don't take off accessories in the public domain to show their friends. Therefore, Rabbi Elazar holds that halacha l'maisa, one would be permitted to go ahead and wear it out on Shabbos. So we'll say it's a fundamental three-way machlokes about what to do regarding the Yerushalayim shel zav. So we'll say again. So was just you'll take a look at that Gemara in the Nedram that I quoted to you, Nun Amud Aleph, is such a gripping Gemara. Just for a moment, such a gripping Gemara, because first of all, you see sometimes we think that difficult circumstances prevent us from accomplishing great things. And you see it's just the opposite. That Rabbi Akiva and his wife began in the most difficult and dire of circumstances. And the truth is, remember, Rabbi Akiva was poor before he got married, so the fact that he was poor after he got married didn't make such a difference. But his wife Rachel came from one of the richest homes in Eretz Yisrael, and yet the fact that she was willing to give all of that up because she found a man whom she believed in, it's just dramatic. It's just dramatic. Another lesson also is, if you promise your wife something, make sure you come through. Right? That's another very important lesson. You promise Yerushalayim shel zav, come through with Yerushalayim. But again, all kidding aside, not just with promises of jewelry, but in general, this yesod, that so much of a cornerstone of a relationship is being a man of your word. If you promise your wife to do something, to be there for something, to help in some way, come through. Come through. Because you read that Gemara on Nun Amud Aleph, and you hear a chassan making a very beautiful promise to a kala, but the Gemara, remember again, that's the Gemara sees Rabbi Akiva going away to learn for multiple years, right? All that's the Gemara. You never hear from this Gemara ultimately what happened to Yerushalayim Shel Zav. So it goes from Nidarim Nun Amud Aleph to Shabbos Nun Tes Amud Beis to find out that what? He made good. He made good. He made good. So two dramatic lessons. No matter how dire your circumstances, greatness is always within reach. And so much of being a proper husband is being a man of your word. So the Gemara goes right there. Kalila. So we'll say Rashi says, Kalila, al padachta hiko sharta me ozen la ozen, v'yesh shekulo tas zav shekoran lima, v'yesh sha'osin mimeshi tave mazav shekora. So let's listen to this. So Kalila is another type of these headbands that you tie on your forehead, and it's tied between from ear to ear. Right, so it goes around the forehead, and it's tied by the ears. So the Gemara says, can you go out with a kalila on Shabbos? So Rav says this. Asur Shmuel Shari. Shmuel says that it's permitted. So let's analyze the case. Da'aniska koli amalo pligi da'aser. So ultimately, again, if the headband is made of niska, Rashi says, tas ha'asui kulo min niska da'inu zav o kesef davra hanitach. So if the kalila, right, if the headband, we're using the word headband again, but if the headband is ultimately made out of metal, or precious metal, gold or silver, everyone agrees that halacha lamaisa, a woman can't wear it out. What are we concerned about? She's going to take it off, show it to her friend, and ultimately, again, potentially end up carrying it dalet ames in Rishus Harabim. Kipli, you see where does the machlokes come up? The aruksa, Rashi says aruksa, Rutsua shemitzuyeres b'zav avarim tova. So we'll say another form of this kalila was that the headband itself was made out of fabric. It was made out of some type of fabric, and halach lamaisa, you would place gold and stones in the fabric. So apparently, again, so everyone agrees. If the kalila was made out of gold or silver, you can't wear it out on Shabbos because there's a concern that the woman's going to take it off and show it to her friend. But apparently, if it's made out of fabric, halacha lemaisa, that's the machlokes. Mar savra aniska ikar, umar savra aruksa ikar. So the Gemara says, because one holds that halacha lemaisa, the anishka is the ikar, right? And therefore, again, ultimately, if you make it out of material, a woman's not going to come to take it off and show it to her friend. And the other opinion said, no, aruksa ikar, that halacha lemaisa, even one made out of material, that's also considered to be something significant, and there's a concern that she's going to take it off and show it to her friend. Okay, Ravashi masni lekula. Ravashi understood this machlokes in a lenient fashion. How so? Da aruksa the kuli amalo pligi shari. So we'll say Ravashi's model is as follows. In the aruksa, right, so in the case ultimately again of the kalila, of the decorative headband that's made of material with gold and stones embedded in the material, everyone agrees that it's permitted to wear it out to Rishus Harabim, right? Why? Because halacha l'maisa, that's really looked at as just a material headband, and a woman's not going to go ahead and remove her material headband on Shabbos to show her friends. So kipli, where does the machlokes come up? So the Gemara says da'aniska. The machlokes comes up with this kalila, with this headband that's made of gold or silver. So the Gemara says, Mar Savar Dilma Shalfo Machviva Asila Suye. So one opinion says because this is a significant item, she may come to go and take it off and show it to her friends, Umar, and therefore end up carrying it in Rishus Harabim. Umar Savar Man Darka Lamefak Bekalila. And the other opinion says, who is the type of woman that would normally go out with this kalila? Isha Chashuva, an important woman. The Isha Chashuva Lo Shalfa Umachve. And the Isha Chashuva is not going to come to take off her accessories to show it to others. So we'll say, so remember again, that's a din in the Isha Chashuva, that the Isha Chashuva doesn't start taking off accessories in order to show it to other people. Okay, so the Gemara goes right there. The Gemara says, I'm really not sure. So we'll say, so again, you begin to see the tension in all of these cases. So she has accessories. Remember again, on one hand, on a D'oraisa level, since these items are accessories, therefore what? they absolutely can be worn out on Shabbos. We're getting now into the Dirabbanans. And midrabanan, the concern is that halacha l'maisa, a woman may come to go ahead and take it off to show her friend. And once she takes it off to show her friend, she may inadvertently end up carrying it daled amas in the shasarabim. There's then a sub-machlokes or sub-discussion in that. Even if you hold that there are circumstances where a woman would take off an accessory to show it to her friend, that doesn't apply to certain accessories only worn by the type of woman known as an Isha Chashuva. An Isha Chashuva, a woman of the upper echelon of society, those people, so to speak, do not go ahead and take off accessories to show to other people. So even if you want to say that it might be the kind of accessory that a woman would take off to show her friend, if it's a type of accessory only worn by an Isha Chashuva, that would seem to obviate the concern that she may come to take it off and show it. Good. So the Gemara says, so Rav Shmuel bar Chana said to Rabbi Yosef, did you you said to us explicitly in the name of Rav that the kalila, that this kalila, this headband, is permitted to be worn out on Shabbos. Amru le Rav, they said to Rav, Asa Gavra Arichal Narda. Let's listen to this. So listen to this story. They said to Rav that there was a man who was very tall, who came from Narda, Umatla, and he limped. So a tall man from Narda, a tall man from somewhere else, came to Narda, and he was limping. Vidarash, and the tall limping man who came to Narda made the following drasha. Kalila Shari. He said that wearing the kalila, wearing the headband on Shabbos into the Rosh Hashanah is permitted. So Amar man gavra Rab aricha deitla. So Rav said to himself, who is a tall man who limps, who is from out of town? Oh, Levi. It could be none other than Levi. Levi was very tall. Levi had a limp, and Levi, of course, was also an exceptional Talmid Chacham. Rabbi Rashi points out, the Gemara says that Levi limped. It's Gemara Mesechas Megillah, because Levi was one time demonstrating the process of Kida. So Kida is a process by which you prostrate yourself by essentially, you're a person standing upright. They bend down without bending their knees or without bending their back, only by manipulating the ankles. So Levi did it, and he hurt himself very badly. And as a result, he was like a shtickle crippled for the rest of his life. So he was known apparently by his gait. I guess that's how people knew him. So Rav said, the tall man who has a limp from out of town, that's Levi. So we'll say, so what happens? So Rav says, Shmamino nachnaf shed Rabbi Afes. It must be the fact that Levi is now in Narda, that Rabbi Afes must have died. Then we'll say, now what? V'Yosef Rabbi Chanina Bereisha, and therefore Rabbi Afes died, and Rabbi Chanina became the Rosh Hashiva. Now remember again, before Rabbi Chanina became the Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Chanina was Levi's Chavrusa. So it must be that Rabbi Afes, the Rosh Hashiva, died. Rabbi Chanina, was appointed in his stead. Rabbi Chanina was appointed in his stead. Therefore, now that Rabbi Chanina is the Rosh Hashiva, Levi has no chavrusa, so he's come here to Narda to learn Torah. And therefore, Levi must be here. So say, so what does this mean? Look at Rashi. Nachnaf shed Rabbi Afes. B'meseches ksuvis b'hanose amrinan dechi Rabbi Amar. So let's listen to. Here's the backstory to this. So the backstory is as follows: when Rabbi was dying, when Rabbi Huda Nasi was dying, so he made the following declaration: Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Chama Yeshev Barosh. So Rabbi declared that Rabbi Chanina bar Chama, Rabbi Chanina should be the Rosh Hashiva. So the velo kibal alav Rabbi Chanina, shay Rabbi Afes gadol menu shtei shan. Rabbi Chanina would not accept the position. Why? Because Rabbi Afes was 2 years older than Rabbi Chanina, and therefore Rabbi Chanina felt it would be inappropriate for him to become Rosh Hashiva when there was an older sage who was also fit. The Rabbi Afes Bereisha. So therefore, again, Rabbi Chanina refused to take the position. As a result, Rabbi Afes was appointed Rosh Hashiva. Now we'll say, now watch this. Umitoch shay Rabbi Chanina chashuv lo nichnas lebeis midrasho v'haya yoshev b'chutz u'mishum kvodo yoshev Levi yoshev Levi. We're supposed to watch this story. This is incredible. So Rebbe is dying. Rebbe names Rabbi Chanina next Rosh Hashiva. Rabbi Chanina says, I'm sorry, I can't accept, because Rabbi Afes is 2 years older than me. He's also Talmid Chacham, the position should be his. They give the position to Rabbi Afes. The problem is Levi feels awkward, Rabbi Chanina feels awkward learning in the same base medrash as Rabbi Afes, for fear that somehow that might diminish the kavod of the new Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Afes. So what's Rabbi Chanina do? Rabbi Chanina learned outside of the base medrash. Levi felt bad that Rabbi Chanina was learning outside of the base medrash, so Levi became his chavrusa. So apparently what happened? So what Rav surmises happened was the following. Rabbi Afes, Rosh Hashiva, died. Now that Rabbi Afes died, so ultimately again Rabbi Chanina becomes the Rosh Hashiva. Now that Rabbi Chanina becomes Rosh Hashiva, Levi has no chavrusa. So what does Levi do? He leaves Eretz Yisrael, he comes to Narda, ultimately again to learn Torah. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. V'dilmai nach nafshet Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Afes kidekai kai. So the Gemara says, "V'lo havile inshi lelevi lemesev gabei v'kasi lahacha." Well, there's another possible narrative. What's the other possible narrative? Rabbi Afes Rosh Hashiva is just fine. Who died? Nebuch? Rabbi Chanina. And Levi doesn't have a chavrusa. So because Levi doesn't have a chavrusa, therefore that's why he's coming to Narda. In other words, how do you know that Rabbi Afes died, Rabbi Chanina became Rosh Hashiva, Levi has no chavrusa, now he's coming? Maybe simple. Rabbi Afes is fine, Baruch Hashem. Rabbi Chanina died, Levi has no chavrusa, he's coming to Eretz Yisrael. Coming to Narda, To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you why. V'im Isa, Rabbi Chanina shachiv, Levi, Rabbi Afes make of havikayifle. Because if it was just Rabbi Chanina who died, quote unquote, then what? Then Levi would still be subservient to Rabbi Afes as the Rosh Hashiva, and he would not have left the yeshiva of Rabbi Afes. Visu, furthermore, again, Rabbi Chanina lo sagile de la malach. First of all, again, Rav was confident that Rabbi Chanina would have to become Rosh Hashiva. Why? The Gemara says, Rabbi Amar, Visu, Rabbi Chanina lo sagi de la malach, dechi havi kanecha nafshe de Rabbi Amar Chanina Rabbi Chama Yosef Barosh. Because we'll say Rav understood as follows. It must be that at some point in time Rabbi Chanina is going to become the Rosh Hashiva. Why? Because when Rebbe was dying, he said that Rabbi Chanina will become the Rosh Hashiva. Uksibu b'tzadikim v'tigzar v'omer v'yakam lach. And I will say the pasuk says by tzaddikim that whatever the tzaddik is gozer, right? Whatever the tzaddik decrees, pasuk in Iyov, whatever the tzaddik decrees, ultimately again comes to fruition. So in other words, Rav understood that it has to be that at some point in time, Rabbi Chanina is going to go and come to Shiva. So let's put the story together. So Rav is sitting in his base medrash. They tell him a man from Narda who's tall and limps is here. And he's passing halacha. He's telling people that the kalila, right, the headband, ultimately again is mutter to wear out on Shabbos. So Rav's thinking, who's the tall limping guy from Narda? Oh, it must be Levi. And what must have happened? Rabbi Afes died. Rabbi Chanina became Rosh Hashiva. Levi no longer has his chavrusa, Rabbi Chanina. There's no one, quote unquote, for him to learn with, and therefore he's here in Narda. Now back to the story. Now that we constructed the story, let's go. Darash Levi. So Levi started darshaning ben Narda. Kalila Shari. So we'll say Levi darshed in the Narda, that ultimately, again, the wearing of this kalila, of this headband, is permitted on Shabbos. So we'll say, the truth is, that's fine. Rav Pask in the same way as we saw. Rav Pask in the same way. So no problems here. So we'll say, so what happened? Nofik esin v'arba kalila mikula Narda. So we'll say, in the entire Narda, 24 women started wearing their kalila. So apparently in the whole Narda, there were 24 women who possessed this accessory. Obviously, a kalila, kind of like Yerushalayim Shel Zav, is an expensive adornment. Remember, again, either way, whether it's made of gold and silver with precious stones embedded in it, or even if it's made of material with gold and precious stones inside of it, it's still a significant item. So 24 women narda. Good. What happened? Darash Rabba Baravua, first wide line in Testament days, B'mechuza, Kalila Shari. So we'll say in Mechuza, they also put out the word that you could wear your Kalila on Shabbos. And what happened? V'nafku timne sari Kalila mechada mavua. And again, the 18 women started wearing their kalila in one alleyway. So we'll say what the Gemara is contrasting over here, this is not a halachic discussion, this is a wealth discussion. You see how wealthy Mechuza was. Right? We'll say, amazing enough, when they said that the kalila was mutter in Narda, 24 women possessed a kalila in all of Narda. When they made this similar announcement in Mechuza, there were 18 women in one alley. Living in one alley, who all possess. You see the incredible wealth that exists in the city of Mechuza. Good. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Shmuel. So the Gemara says, Kamra Shari. So the kamra is permitted. What's a kamra? Rashi says, Avnei Tchashav Yesha Osin Oso Tas Shalzav Veish Osin Oso Ritzua Mishpatzo Zav Avanim. So we'll say, so a kamra is a type of belt. Either it's a belt made of gold and silver, or it's a belt made of material which has stones and gold embedded in it. Either way, you could wear it out on Shabbos. Ika da Amri da Aruksa. So some say that this dafka applies if the belt is made of material with the stones and the gold embedded in it. Va'amar Rav Safra midi dahavi atalis mizuheves. So this is no different than a talis, that a cloak that is adorned with gold. That is adorned with gold, where ultimately, again, one is permitted to wear it out. Viga da Amri daniska. Others say that the belt we're talking about is actually made of gold and silver, or gold or silver. And even though the belt itself is made of precious metal, you could still wear it out on Shabbos. Safra says, Midi dehavia avneit shel malachim, because this kamra is very much like the belt that kings wear. Both say, look at this Rashi, this is so beautiful. Avneit shel malachim. So Rabbi says, so remember again, so you could wear this belt because like the belt of kings. Rashi says, Sha'asri kulo diniska, v'chol Yisrael b'nei malachim ru'uyim lo. We'll say, what a beautiful Gemara. Every Jew is like a king. Every Jew is like a prince. And therefore you are permitted to go ahead and wear the kamra out on Shabbos, because this is like the belt worn by royalty, and every Jew is royalty. We'll say the Maggid of Mezrich says that the greatest avera, the greatest chait that the Jew commits is not some type of avera like chil Shabbos or kashrus or anything else, but the greatest chait we commit, said the Maggid of Mezrich, is that we forget that we are royalty. Because the moment that a Jew forgets that he's royal is the moment that he can engage in all types of negative behaviors. The greatest chait we commit is we forget that we are the Ben Melech. We forget that we are each a king, we are each a prince. So the Gemara just goes a little bit weiter. What about wearing the kamra on top of your regular belt? Let's say you have a belt, but you want to wear the kamra on top of your belt. What's the halacha there? Amalei trei heimani ka'amrit. So when you're talking about two belts, we'll say obviously you can't wear two belts on Shabbos. Right? Two belts would be redundant, would be repetitive, and therefore, again, one of those belts is already the second belt, is going to end up being a muscle, going to end up being a burden. Amar Ravashi, Hayri Sukkah, Isle Mafrachais Shari Ve'ilo Aser. This Risuka, we'll say, what's the Risuka? Rashi says, Chatikas Me'il Rachava, a large piece of fabric. So we'll say this would be like a large piece of fabric that a person would often wear around their body. So if it has drawstrings, then it is mutter. If it doesn't have drawstrings, then it's aser. Both say the idea being is whatever this garment is, it wraps around the body. If you could tie it tightly around the body so that it won't fall off, then it's mutter. But if you can't tie it tightly, then it is going to be aser. We'll say just two more lines. So v'lo katla, you can't go out with a katla. So we saw this already yesterday's daf. My katla min kitaf fa'ari, something that catches crumbs. So let's remember again, the katla was like that bib-like garment that a woman would wear tied around her neck, extended up until the heart. So even though it was extensively to catch crumbs, it was a bib, but it was also an adornment. Remember, it also served another purpose. Woman would tie it very tightly around her neck so as to push up the skin of her neck to make her look a little bit heavier, as that was considered to be a more attractive look for a woman in the times of the Gemara. Lastly, nizamim, what he can't go out with nizamim. Nizme this is talking about nose rings, not earrings. So Rashi says nizmea af aval nizmea ozen mutar lechatchila detrech alei meosel mishlav va'achuyim mipnei she'aznam mechusas b'kishon. So let's listen to this. So earrings you got on Shabbos because we're not going to take out our earring to show it to our friend. Nose rings apparently were much more easily removable, and that's where there was a concern that a woman may come to take them off ultimately again to show her friends. So we'll stop over here. We'll pick up Emir Hashem with Taba'as Emir Hashem tomorrow. Shkoyach.